guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. I'm here in San Diego, California for the launch and first drive of a vehicle that you have been waiting for, and so have I. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2024 Chevy Blazer EV. This particular one is the RS. But before we get into this basic compact two-row SUV that's now electrified, let's talk about what's going on here. It goes all the way back to 1969, if you could believe that. That was the introduction of the Chevrolet Blazer. And boy, oh boy, over the years, the Blazer has really changed in size and in also utility. When you look at the return of the Blazer, a lot of people were disappointed because they were hoping for some type of off-road Blazer. Well, guess what? Chevy decided to take some styling from the Camaro and bring it into the Blazer, and now we are seeing the transition into full EV. Now, of course, Chevy, knowing performance, is gonna also be bringing not only the RS, which what we have here, but also the upcoming high-performance SS. But what I wanna find out is, in the sea of these upcoming crossover SUVs that are electrified, is this one worth the price? And is it better than the competition? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this Galaxy Gray Metallic. Absolutely love the color. It almost changes colors depending on the lighting. Let's go ahead, let's dive into this Blazer EV RS and find out. Right off the bat, the proportions. It's actually shorter than the internal combustion engine version of the same nameplate. It's 2 inches shorter. It's also 2 inches lower, obviously to cut down on that wind drag. Now at the front of the business, you're gonna see a nose of a vehicle that's actually wider. This vehicle's wider than the Z06 Corvette, the mighty C8 Z06. This is actually wider. Now at the front, you'll see they did a great job with all of their LED lighting. You got LED turn signals with daytime running lamps, projector beam LED headlights. Love the way it's all integrated in this nice housing. And then look at what we have here, fully functional fender vents to help channel that air nice and clean through the front fender and down the side of the vehicle. But I'm telling you right now, this Galaxy Gray Metallic has got to be one of my favorite colors. Now, there is a bit of gloss black, so you're going to have a lot of gloss black on that fender vent and across the bottom here as well. But I think it balances nicely with this actual shade of color. Now, as we come across that front nose, very familiar, even though this is all new. Of course, you're gonna have the blacked out bow tie, that Chevy badge going all the way back to the early 1900s when Louis Chevrolet started the brand. You have your LED daytime running lamps that actually intersect in that center portion. On the RS trim, you are gonna get a forward-facing camera, and I love the way they brought some design to this center section. Now, it is gloss black, but it definitely gives it that familiar brand identity. We have Rally Sport. That's what RS stands for. And remember, RS is not a performance trim. It is about style. And this definitely has a lot of nice style features. Now, on the lower portion, you'll see that we do have functionality because we do have that Ultium battery pack, and we got to keep it cooled because it's liquid cooled, but we also want air to also travel into that front lower grille area. But definitely looks very sporty, very aggressive from the front, more so than a Tesla Model Y. Now, as we rise up, it's interesting because they kept the familiar shape of the Blazer internal combustion engine hood, but you'll see the difference because remember, air is hitting the front, that air is gonna hit the front of the hood. Because this is an EV, we wanna help cut down on drag. And that is the key to all those aero pieces and the way that they shape the hood is to cut down on drag, and that's gonna help give us a longer range, battery life range. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup, check it out. On the RS, you're gonna get 21-inch wheels. Massive size. You'll see all the nice intricate work that they did to the details to help generate that airflow down the side of the vehicle. A little bit of machined aluminum all the way around. If you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of the tires? 275s. That's massive width, all four corners, 45 series sidewall. Remember, we do have regen braking, different levels of regen braking, and we have special suspension tuned for this particular chassis setup. That's where you're gonna get some nice handling. Now remember, the Blazer EV is available all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. This particular one is rear-wheel drive, but we're gonna be driving both to give you a taste between how the two handle and how they perform. You do get a bit of gloss black around the fender opening. Let me know if I should zonk that. I think anything that's gloss black should be painted the same body color, because this color is spot on the money. Absolutely love the sparkle. But as we come down the side, you'll notice they give it a nice performance edge to the styling. Now on the driver's side, this is actually your charge port door. On the passenger side, we're just matching the style with that gloss black. It's almost like a performance cove. You know, on the original C1 Corvettes, they had that cove on the side. I really like the way they kind of brought that design all the way back from the 50s to this modern era vehicle. We have power folding mirrors, gloss black, but they are power folding with your LED lighting, 360-degree cameras. You can see from the side of the vehicle, like I said, it's still a mid-size two-row, but it's a little bit shorter and a little bit lower than the Blazer internal combustion engine version. Up top, we have a full panoramic sunroof, and it does open, which is nice. We have the very low gloss black roof rails. Coming towards the rear doors, look at the body lines. This is what I was telling you. It's got this nice sporty feel with everything flowing into this rear quarter panel. Those massive 21-inch wheels and tires. I mean, crazy to think that on a Blazer, you're getting 21-inch wheels. And then when we get to the back, just like we started, I love the styling. That nice waterfall drip into the corner here, full LED. You got your RS badge. What does that stand for? Yes, you in the back of the classroom with that Twinkie in your mouth. Take out the Twinkie. Yeah, Rally Sport, correct. Even the way they shaped that low roof spoiler, all for aero specifics. The one zonk, you know where I'm going, right? Where am I going with the zonk? Right here. Why do they have this exposed wiper? Let's get that underneath this long spoiler and have a nice cleaning action. And that would just clean up the back end, the rear end of this vehicle. Think about it. If it wasn't there, look how clean that looks. Of course, we got the blacked out bow tie, and I like the way they did the black. It's not like you see on the regular production versions that we've seen on other Chevrolet vehicles. It's a really almost like a carbon underneath there. And then the way they did Blazer with the E for plug, because remember, this is a full battery electric vehicle. And then working our way down to Chinatown, you're gonna notice super clean on the back. It is all gloss black, so it is gonna be questionable how this is gonna handle wear over time, but it definitely looks sporty. You can tow up to 1,500 pounds with the Blazer EV. And like I said, rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop that hood and see what the heck we could find underneath. All right, guys, this really isn't gonna be a hood that you're gonna wanna open up at Cars and Coffee, because especially since this is the single motor version and the motor's out back, all we have is plastic panel underneath the hood. I really feel like this is a big missed opportunity where you could have had maybe some small storage. Let me know in the comment section if you think Chevy should have put some type of frunk at the front end of this Chevy Blazer. But I'm gonna have Lori kind of show you the angles, show you the nice creative flow of what this vehicle brings when it comes to aesthetics. And I'm gonna talk about performance. So on that single electric motor, you are getting the longest range. So you're gonna have a 320-mile range on the rear wheel drive. With the two electric motors, this EV, this Blazer EV pumps out 288 horsepower, 333 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 6 seconds flat. It has a range of 279 miles. And remember, that's with the 21-inch wheels. You could charge on a DC fast charger 78 miles in 10 minutes. The vehicle weighs 5,235 pounds. MPGE's 100 in the city, 88 on the highway, and a nice 96 combined. But definitely, like I said, would have been nice to have some type of storage underneath. Can't wait to see what your comments say. But why don't we go ahead, let's turn this on and see it roll. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Chevy Blazer EV-RS. The first time that the Blazer is a full BEV, battery electric vehicle. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I want one of these. I don't want a Tesla Model Y. Everybody and their mother seems to have a Tesla. My grandpappy had a Chevy. My grandma had a Chevy. Hell, I was born in the back of my dad's K5 Chevy Blazer. It was a 72 Blazer. I was born in the back of that thing. How much is this Blazer? I want one. So the way the pricing works is pricing for the Blazer EV is $55,000. Top trim, which is the SS, which has 577 horsepower, that's going to be starting around $66,000. This longer range rear-wheel drive model starts at around $61,000. But let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. You're going to find nice, clean style. I love the soft touch material up top. All of that red stitching looks very tasteful. And then you'll notice that they did this texture design that's under a veneer finish. Really gives it a futuristic look, and I think is going to hide the fingerprints for the most of the greasiest fingers out there. I also am digging the blue with the red on the center armrest. The one thing I am going to zonk, though, is that cloth. Why on an RS trim do we have cloth? I have no idea, but we do have the Bose sound system, and I like the way it has just a little bit of aluminum finish at the top, and the door pocket is a pretty good size. You could easily get, I would say, 10 boxes of snow caps and a bag of Sour Patch Kids, which remember, Sour Patch Kids is the most favorite sugary snack of the state of California. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, you'll see the nice sculpted AC vents like you find on the regular Blazer, internal combustion engine version, and also on the Chevy Camaro. There's more of that red stitching for the RS. And the blue and the red with a little bit of Alcantara is a very nice touch. You got more of that cleared over texturized material. And if you're wondering what's that beeping, there's a vehicle driving behind us because you have that full range of all the sensing technology. You could put about, I would say, not because you can't really put anything in here. You could rest 3 Twinkies. Just rest. But then you got to eat them. But then you come on in, what are you getting? A massive 17.7-inch infotainment system screen. I love the way that it's kind of cocked towards the driver. You do have all new Google Maps. And remember, this is the first Chevrolet product, no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto on this vehicle. I also like what's new is that they have the one pedal operation, easy to get to, and then you could turn on your lights, turn them on and off very easily so that you don't have to scan through all the different menus. Now, one thing that's great about this vehicle, of course, with charging, you could say when you want to have it charged, how much do you want to charge for that particular setting, and you could also do your battery preconditioning. That's how we could get that quicker charging to happen. You do have all of your AC settings and everything in the screen, but as you can see right underneath it, you do have real knobs and switches, but we do have 3 stages of ventilated seats and 3 stages of heated seats. There's the proof. I just lit it up for you, and then that is going to close up once you go to the next thing. And then, of course, when we go into the rest of the screens, I could pull up things like drive modes. This is cool. There's the Blazer EV looking good. Normal, sport, snow and ice, and then my mode, which is you can set up all the different preferences, and I love the graphics. And then one thing that Chevy continues to do very well, General Motors products overall, is the camera quality. Out the front, out the back, 360, overhead view. I just wish it took more of this beautiful screen up. You could even do the sides. Look at those wheels, 21-inch wheels. That's a little bit of a leaf action there. But nice the way they have that all set up. Working our way down, like I said, real AC control knobs and some switch gear. Love the way they give you 3 separate AC vents. So you each have one and then you share one in the center. We have a nice little storage space for at least, I would say, 7 Snickers. Maybe make it 4 Snickers and 3 Musketeers. And then you'll notice, watch this is cool. That opens up, USB-Cs, and you have enough room in there for, I would say, 10 pouches of Big League Chew. Or you could get one of those big, massive, you know what you get? One of those big, massive Hershey Kisses. You know how they have it for like Valentine's Day and the holidays? It's about the size of a softball. You could keep that kiss in there. And here's a little fun fact. Do you know why they call it a Hershey's Kiss? You don't, do you? It's because the machine that plops the chocolate makes a puckering sound. That's why they call it a Hershey's Kiss. Now when you're on Jeopardy, you can thank me. 2 cup holders, and then I love the way they did the black bow tie just like out front and on the back of the vehicle. Of course, you're gonna have remote start and everything. We have wireless charging, nice soft material, love the stitching. Open this bad boy up, USB-C, a 12 volt, and I would say easily put 7 Beanie Babies in there, especially Peanut. Peanut is the blue elephant. That's the one that's worth buku money. Be careful though, people buy regular elephant Beanie Babies and dye them blue with like food coloring. So that's another little tip from me to you. Seats, the Alcantara, the leather style material. Love the way the RS is embossed in there. Look at the way they did these seats. The quality is spot on the money. Needlepoint, perfect. Power seats for the passenger, power seats for the driver. And like I told you outside, we got a massive panoramic sunroof that does open for the driver and the passenger. Close that up, and then to top it off, the cherry is that digital rear view mirror. Very nice, and you can see there's somebody right there walking their dog. They actually have a little bit of a, I think that's a greyhound. Yeah, either a Dalmatian or a greyhound. Maybe it's a mix. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you the mix behind the wheel in this Blazer EV RS. All right, guys, 2 memory seat settings for the driver's side. You do get a little bit of a door chime because what's interesting is that there's no actual on button to turn this vehicle on. You open up the door, you get in, and it turns on automatically. So one less button to push, I guess. You do have plenty of buttons here and switches for your seat controls, very nice. And then I do want to show the pedal box. The reason why is, look how flat it is. Look how low it is. That's because this has that battery pack in there. And then sitting in here, you hear all the chimes because I put my foot back on the brake. Like I said, there's no power on button. I'm 6 feet tall, and even with the 2-inch chop from a regular Blazer, plenty of room in here. Steering wheel, oh, they do it great. The leather, the red stitching, the RS badge, just a little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy. Tasteful horn button, flat black on the switchgear. You do have a heated steering wheel, which is really nice. And then you see this one paddle? This is where you could do regen braking and actually brake with the paddle instead of hitting the brake pedal. Nice little extra touch. Manual tilting, telescoping steering wheel. You do have your direct drive transmission shifter on the column. And then you have that beautiful digital gauge display, 11 inches, and you can see how you change it up. Look at that, I could bring the maps in there. I could bring my adaptive cruise. I could simplify everything. I could complicate everything. I'm real good at complicating things. And just the information that they give you is plentiful. Plus you have a head-up display. But I am happy the way they connected the digital gauge cluster with the infotainment system. I think that makes it a nice, complete package. But speaking of packages, why don't we get in the back seat and see where your passengers are going to be sitting in this Blazer EV. All right, guys, back seat time. And this is where having a battery electric vehicle really gives your passengers more room in the back seat. Where I'm actually going to start off is on the floor. You'll notice it's totally flat all the way across. There's a little bit of a wrinkle in the carpet in the floor mat here, but everything is nice and flat. You do have pockets on the back, and what's great is that you could easily put, I would say, 4 to 5 issues of Nintendo Power. So if you're looking for the cheat codes, they're in the Nintendo Power magazine. And remember, Nintendo is actually based not too far from here, right in California. So kind of cool to have that connection. I remember Christmas 1985, I got my NES. Oh boy, I was a very happy boy that Christmas. Now, back at the command center, your passengers are going to be happy because they get the same style AC vents. I like the little red touches on the RS. 2 USB-Cs and 3 stages of heated seats apiece. Speaking of seats, I got lots of room in here. Even with the panoramic roof, lots of great space. Pull this bad boy down. Charmin soft. 2 cup holders, and I like the way they did the Alcantara material with the leather style, just like up front, so nobody gets cheated. But why don't we go ahead, let's see what we can haul in the cargo area of this Blazer EV. All right guys, time to get in the cargo area. Now remember, the Ultium battery pack is in the belly of this vehicle. It's all the way down nice and flat. So I think you might be surprised with how much cargo room we have. You're actually gonna hit the button here. Nice electric assist. Another thing that's great is that this also has the new feature where if you have the key fob in your pocket and you walk up, it's automatically gonna open for you. But look at the space that you're given. Tons of room. You do have LED lighting, which is nice. That 60-40 split on the seating. And then underneath the cargo floor here, you'll notice you have tons of storage. Easily put 16 boxes of Twinkies back here. You have all of your charging accessories nicely placed in the bag for you. And then I'm gonna show you how the seats go down. Now the seats, the zonk is you have to come over to the side of the vehicle on the passenger doors to put the seats down. So that really is the one thing where you have to run back and forth, sort of like you're doing a fire drill around the vehicle. But there's the seats down, pretty much totally flat. Could go down just a little bit lower, but still gonna give you a ginormous amount of room so that you can make that Costco haul with all of your big packages of mayonnaise, ketchup, a barrel of hot dogs, and of course, a big, huge 25-pound bag. They have new 25-pound bags of Funyuns. But why don't we go ahead? It's about that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go see how this new Blazer EV drives. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Blazer EV RS. We're actually gonna start off with the rear-wheel drive model, and then we're gonna jump into the all-wheel drive. Exterior-wise, everything looks the same. Interior, everything is the same. It just all comes down to one motor or two motors. Now, that large 17.7-inch infotainment system screen is definitely in charge and well within reach of access while you're sitting behind the wheel. It is surprising they got rid of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but I still think you're gonna be happy because you have your Google Maps easily accessible. You go into your different modes. We're gonna go ahead and go sport. That's gonna make all the different adjustments for the steering and the throttle sensitivity. And remember, because this is an EV, it has that low center of gravity. So it's actually gonna be quite surprising how well this vehicle handles. Seating position feels great. I love all the soft touch materials. Those feel great, and the digital gauge cluster is just a sweetheart of a display. But pulling away, it feels really, really good the way that it builds that power. Now what I'm gonna do is we're actually an incline a little bit, but I'm gonna go on throttle. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. So like I said, the rear wheel drive example is gonna be about 0 to 60 in 7 seconds, whereas the twin motor drops it by a full second. But what we have is a nice rear wheel drive platform here with that low center of gravity to give us some nice driving dynamics. And this thing feels so buttoned down. I mean, it really just inspires confidence, and I can't wait for us to switch into the all-wheel drive, because then you're just gonna have more power and that all-wheel drive grip. Now, being able to scroll through the different screens, I love the way I have my Google Maps right in front of me. That way I could leave the modes up so I could easily change those. Or we could keep scrolling through and you have your adaptive cruise. Nice to have a variety of different readouts, plus the head-up display and the digital rear view mirror. But I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised with how organized the interior is. Adjustments of the AC vents are cool. So to actually turn the air off from flowing, you just actually turn the dial here. That's the actual bezel itself. So nice to have that ease of use, but yet it looks so good as well. So that really kind of allows us to have that great drivability, but also ease of use and aesthetics. But are you ready? On throttle, here we go. I'm glad they didn't pump in some type of stupid sound or anything. You do get a little whirl from the electric motor. And as you can see, we're chasing down that Tesla in front of us. I really, really like the driving dynamic. And of course, if you want the longer range, you're gonna have to go with the rear-wheel drive. If you need the all-wheel drive and you want that quicker acceleration, then obviously all-wheel drive, but you do lose a little bit of range. I can't wait to drive the Blazer EV SS with 577 horsepower. But nice to be able to adjust the regen braking and use that paddle on the back of the wheel. Look at this, I could come to a complete stop. I don't even have my pedals, my feet anywhere near the pedals, and I just came to a complete stop using the paddle on the back of the steering wheel. That to me is a touch that a lot of other brands aren't even thinking about. And then if you want to turn on one pedal operation, you could do that all very easily. And then what's really cool is when you turn it on, which I'm trying to turn it off, now we got to turn it back on, I could actually set the level, which is cool. You could do high, on, or off. So put it on high, it really intensifies that one pedal braking operation. But I think they did a great job with the chassis. I'm not getting a bunch of noise and vibration into the cockpit of the cabin of the vehicle. I'm telling you, one pedal and high is pretty intense. I think standard is probably the best way to go. I'm testing it out right now. I'm just gonna leave it off, to be honest with you. I kind of want to feel a little bit more engaged in the driving experience. Let me get that out of there. But as you can see, very intuitive system. You can get wherever you need to go very easily. I just wish there were a couple more options for switches, like the heated and ventilated seats. But it is nice they took care of us on the AC controls and a real volume knob up top. So that, they definitely don't deserve any zonks when it comes to that. Graphics are clear. The displays give you all the important information. But for it being the rear-wheel drive example, you still got plenty of pep and a nice environment to drive in. But we're gonna go ahead and switch over because we're gonna do more driving in the all-wheel drive example. So let's go ahead, let's jump into the all-wheel drive version of this Blazer EV RS and see how the on-throttle goes. All right, guys, we are now have switched. If you're noticing a different color hood, we are in a red Blazer EV, still an RS, but now we're in an all-wheel drive model setup. So that means we have the dual electric motors. That's gonna give us that all-wheel drive, 288 horsepower, 333 pound-feet of torque. And like I mentioned earlier, with the all-wheel drive, you're getting 279 miles of range. So if you're saying to yourself, well, what is the point to go all-wheel drive? I'd rather just have more mileage. There is gonna be basically a Blazer EV for everybody. They're starting out, most of the ones will be all-wheel drive with the two motors, then the rear-wheel drive, and there'll even be a front-wheel drive model that comes later to really allow you to choose exactly what you want from your EV driving experience. Now, there'll be two different battery sizes, 88 kilowatt hour and 103 kilowatt hour battery packs, and that will allow you to choose. If you're living in the city, maybe you don't need the larger battery pack. Something to think about. But I'm gonna come to a slow down here and we're gonna go on throttle if you're ready. On throttle, here we go. So you can hear the sound coming in through the speakers. All right, guys, we're continuing this little journey and I found this nice twisty road to really showcase the driving dynamics with this vehicle. And I think the part that you're gonna enjoy, even though this isn't the SS, is that you do have quite a bit of torque there, 333 pound-feet of torque to enjoy going through a twisty road, rolling on throttle, getting out of throttle. I love the way you could adjust the amount of regen braking you have. I'm not really the biggest fan of the high intensity level. I think that's a little too much for my particular driving style, but definitely the lower of the two allows you to enjoy a back twisty road, and it's not getting in the way of the driving experience. And then when you're going downhill a little bit, you can hit that finger brake control on the steering wheel just to shed a little speed. But suspension travel, they really did a great job without making it feel bouncy. And yet there's not a ton of body roll in the twisties, which is good. So they found a good compromise between sporty but not marshmallow. And as you can see, you do get a little bit, when you go on throttle, you do get some simulated sound pumped in, but other than that, it's really not too overbearing like some vehicles are. All right, guys, now we're to this downhill section, and this is another area where I think that one pedal operation is gonna come into play, and the regen braking makes it more comfortable going downhill in this Blazer EV. I'm just really impressed with how balanced the vehicle is and how it feels like, I keep saying this, like a normal crossover SUV. But since we're going downhill, that means we are at that point where we need to wrap it up and get back to where it all started. We're gonna switch back and get back to the hotel in the rear-wheel drive model. But I hope that this has been very informative, showing you how the rear-wheel drive is, talking about what that brings, and then getting into the all-wheel drive example. We're gonna get back and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in an electrifying second. All right, guys, it's been an adventurous day out here in San Diego, an electrifying day, so to speak, but we gotta thank the whole Chevrolet team for inviting us out for the first drive of this Blazer EV RS. Let me know what you think. Has Chevy created the special sauce for an electric midsize two-row crossover SUV? Let me know down in the comment section, especially for the price. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raity's Rise family. Of course, we need to give it up to the one that wins everybody's heart, especially she's won my heart. LG Raiti, Lori, working that camera like a champ. Show her some love in the comment section. We just got out of a plane just 5 hours ago and came here to film this vehicle. And we were in the plane for 6 hours. So do the math there. It's been a long day. She's been busting her butt. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.